The 5 bears made their way straight to the Everfree forest, following Rainbow Dash's trail. All of them wondered what fate Rainbow Dash had brought upon herself, or had forced upon her, in the meantime. The fog had reasserted itself by now, though Twilight and Trixie's best emulations of Pegasus wind magic kept it at bay enough that they could at least see. Pinkie Pie patted at length about her pinky sense not being of much use. Rarity helped the only way she could, providing another light source to light their way through the fog that refused to submit to the sun's almighty warmth. Twilight tried very hard not to think too hard about what that could mean. They finally spotted Rainbow Dash at the edge of the Everfree, staring in slack-jawed bewilderment. It only took them a moment to join her. Twilight spoke first, tilting her head towards Applejack without moving her eyes. I don't suppose we're hallucinating again? I don't think so? She blinked hard. It was still there. Miraculously, Twilight accepted this without further question. After helping to wake up the others from their dream lives, Applejack hadn't much choice but to admit to the trait she'd picked up after her visit to Camelot. How come I can't get truth vision? Had been Pinkie's immediate reply. Applejack had begun to worry, admittedly. She hadn't gained this ability right after looking into truth. It developed sometime after. She just hoped her eyes didn't turn into the little silver balls of truth that rendered any pony who looked into them a sobbing mess. But even then, she would hold true to her ideals and wouldn't turn from the truth. If worse came to worse, she was sure Rarity could recommend a good pair of sunglasses. But that was a train of thought for another day. Right now, they had to save Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash! Pinkie Pie bounced over to glomp her friend. You dummy, don't rush off like that again. Applejack made sure to look in Dash's eyes to check for brainwashing. Rainbow Dash, darling, I know you want to save Fluttershy, but even you must admit that running off like that was foolish to the extreme, Rarity scolded. Don't do that again, Trixie snapped, sounding something very close to concerned. You aren't the boss of me. You don't seem to be the boss of you either. Curls, we've had enough arguments for one day, Twilight said. And Rainbow Dash, no flying off in your own in enemy territory. I'm sorry. It's just, remember how Princess Celestia had to banish Luna because she couldn't use the elements properly on her own? I still think this is total horse apples, but if something really is wrong with Fluttershy, I don't want her sent to the moon just because we took the easy way out with Celestia. Twilight bristled a little at the implication that Celestia just banished every problem she laid her eyes on. Didn't anyone realize it had hurt her to do what she did? Please tell me you were waiting here because you realized how foolish you were being, Rarity begged. Rainbow Dash scratched the back of her neck. Actually, it's more like I got one look at that, she gestured towards the forest, and thought maybe I was hallucinating again or something. I mean, just look at it. It looks kinda like the Everfree, Pinkie Pie said. Sure, maybe on the opposite day. Perhaps, but personally I can't help but feel it's an improvement, Rarity said. Even if it is a bit, cute. A bit? If it was any cuter, my teeth would fall out, said the magical talking rainbow pony. Indeed, the dark colors of the Everfree had been brightened to look like something out of a fool's picture book. The willow vines hung down in soft pinks to brush against a carpet of aquamarine, their tiny white flowers attracting a healthy population of butterflies and bumblebees. Weird as fall, the trees had been replanted in organized rows, spaced equally apart, letting in the perfect amount of sunlight for all. And sparkles. Somehow there were sparkles. This breaks so many laws of nature I don't even know where to begin, Twilight lamented. It's a bit like Discord's Ponyville, Applejack said. Twilight shook her head. No, this doesn't feel like his style at all. It's way too orderly, and way not exploding chocolate milky. Pinkie Pie tilted her head. Oh, that reminds me! A few days after we beat Discord, Fluttershy asked me how much chocolate rain I swallowed with this really weird look on her face. I told her a whole lot, and she tapped me with this little mallet, then asked me to swallow a blasting cap. How did the cap taste? No real bang to it. And you really didn't think that was strange behavior at the time? Rarity asked, agitated. Hey, I was on day 3 of refusing to sleep. I was too busy trying not to think about Pinkamena to think about anything except partying. Before Rarity could retort, there was the blaring of the world's cutest trumpet. Rainbow Dash grumbled something about diving off a cliff if the flowers started playing music. The willow vines parted in attendance with the new arrival who skipped merrily to the edge of the Everfree. Twilight's eyes bulged out. Zecora? This is Zecora? Trixie exclaimed in disbelief. This was the wise zebra sage they traveled all this way to see in the first place? Kind of? Rainbow Dash tilted her head. Hello! No need to bellow! Chirped the tiny zebra in the most innocently sweet voice imaginable. She was now about the Crusader's age, maybe even younger. She was short, stubby, looking at them with innocent, playful, surprisingly clear blue eyes. Her normally gray stripes were now a soft baby blue. A little trumpet was strapped to her back. There was a platinum butterfly necklace around her neck. And most adorable and disturbing of all, her cutie mark, the reflection of her very soul, had been changed to a crayon drawing. I can't resist! Pinkie Pie's entire body shook. The whole group went on alert. Pinkie Pie, can you hear me? What's wrong? So cute! In one fell bounce, Pinkie gathered up Zecora in her hooves and squeezed her like a teddy bear. Hey, put me down! The foal laughed. But even if you don't, I won't frown. Zecora, what happened to you? Is that really you? If not for the cutie mark, Twilight would have thought Zecora had relatives visiting. Zecora grinned. Yes, it's me, teehee. Princess Gaia gave me a precious gift, and there's no need to cause a rift? She scrunched her nose up a little at the flat rhyme. Aw, even your bad bursting is adorable, Pinkie Pie nuzzled her. It's only cute because she's small and plump, Trixie said curtly. And isn't it adorable? Rainbow Dash said before shaking her head and remembering to stay cool. Applejack sighed. Pinkie, put Zecora down. Do I have to? Yes, chorused everyone. I'm not in a bind. I really don't mind. Now, Pinkie, Twilight said. Pinkie pouted, but peeled herself off Zecora. The filly shook herself off and stood with all the dignity her 1.5-foot tall self could muster. Hello and welcome, one and all. All your sorrows are soon to fall. Welcome to the Everkind forest, where all delights sing in chorus. Applejack raised an eyebrow. You really didn't get a hang of the speaking and rhyme thing till you were older, did ya? Nope. My dear, I must say, while your new look is aesthetically pleasing, the design is rather shallow, and the individual traits, though certainly working on their own, only rudimentarily complement each other, Brody said with a critical look at Zecora's cuter self. This is the new look Princess Gaia picked out for me, so of course it's perfect, you see? Princess Gaia? Twilight asked. Yes! She came to the Everfree and made it all better. All the dark gloomy stuff she did better. She made me super cute and wants to teach me to play the lute. My heart she laid bare, so now I'm her royal footmare. You are her special guest, so come on in and have a rest. Once my princess's plans unfurl, you'll be among the last adults in the world. Now come along, Princess Gaia wants us all to have fun. Wait, what do you mean last adults in the world? Rainbow Dash exclaimed. Everyone is more happy as foals, so of course everyone should be foals. What would be mean would be to steal memories, or make someone a foal without the heart of one, or give them the mind of one without the body. But Princess Gaia isn't like that. Everything will be better now she's up to bat. I wasn't happier as a foal, Pinkie Diane said quietly, firmly, almost stern. We'll need to fix that then. Happiness is right around the bend. So why didn't she make Shirley a foal? Twilight asked, ever inquisitive. 'Cause foals need a protector, silly. And Princess Gaia hasn't yet made all the world happy fillies. Someone has to look after the foals, so she, told Shirley to follow her goals. How considerate, Rainbow Dash grumbled. Yes! Isn't she the bestest princess in the whole world? She's the best princess the universe holds. She's such a great ruler, she'll make everything 200% cooler. How exactly did this Princess Gaia know we were coming? All that nature sees, Princess Gaia sees. So try not to sneeze? Rainbow Dash had enough, landing in front of the foal. Zecora, where's Fluttershy? Everyone says they saw her flying towards here yesterday. Fluttershy? Oh, yes, Princess Gaia. She came upon the Everfree and saw it was not kinda, but she realized the power within and became our goddess, and will spread innocence and purity with her ever-kindness. Now she's waiting for you at her castle, so let's not have a hassle. Fluttershy has a castle? Pinkie Pie asked. Fluttershy wouldn't do this, Rainbow Dash insisted. Brody gave Rainbow Dash a sad look. She wouldn't try her best to make others happy in the most gentle way possible. She wouldn't refuse to harm another herself, but allow others to do so for a good cause. She wouldn't act with force when emotionally backed into a corner. She wouldn't let her cowardice get the best of her when she doesn't have us there to support her. She wouldn't make the wild, untamed Everfree into this. She wouldn't. She couldn't. I know her. Twilight watched Rainbow Dash stammer and wondered. Had Celestia's closest companion seen that face when the princess realized what Luna had done to herself? Rarity stared Rainbow Dash right in the eyes, trotting within inches of her face, letting every else fade into the background. I'm sorry, Rainbow Dash. I really am. This is the last thing you should have to hear. But I know Fluttershy better than you do. Rainbow Dash's wings propelled her a few hoof steps backward. You may have grown up with her, but that doesn't mean you understood her. No! Zecora stomped her tiny hooves. Hear this fable. Such feelings are forbidden at Princess Gaia's table. Zecora, Twilight said, please, take us to Fluttershy. Of course. No need for a divorce. That's why Princess Gaia sent me, not to talk about birds and bees, to bring your bestest friends to her castle. Just follow this loyal vassal. This is probably a trap, Trixie said pragmatically. Well, Fluttershy just wants to talk, Rarity said. Or it's a trap. But if she's willing to talk, then it's too big an opportunity not to risk it, Twilight insisted. I don't think I'm leading you into a trap, Zecora chimed in, so there's no need to snap. She then merrily skipped ahead of them, slowing down only to give them time to catch up. She tooted her horn a few times too, so being delighted by the sound that came out every time. Though when Twilight asked her to stop after the third time, worried about more mind control music, she happily complied. Seeing the zebra who she almost considered another mentor reduced to a perky, happy-go-lucky foal was rather jarring for Twilight. She considered using the memory spell then and there on Zecora, and almost did. But if Fluttershy really did have the entire Everfree under her command, Twilight didn't want to risk antagonizing her. So idle conversation it was. Zecora, you do realize you're under a Gias, right? Of course, Billy, don't be silly. If I wasn't, I'd be way too embarrassed for this. But for something better, I couldn't wish. I haven't felt this happy since I left home. It was far too long I was left to roam. Sewing a princess I never did dream, but I'm more than happy to be on her team. And you realize you're only happy doing it because of the Gias? Oh, I don't mind. She is very kind. But you don't mind because of the Gias. That's the appeal. It's a great package deal. Twilight groaned and looked around the dark forest that was currently a kingdom of lollipops and sprinkles. Despite herself, she had to admit it looked a lot more welcoming than usual. This here's the Everfree? What the heck did Fluttershy do? Applejack asked, looking around in bewilderment. She made it kind. Isn't that kind? Zecora said in a stunning display of rhyming prowess. Twilight could only stare at the sight of the many beasts and creatures of the Everfree, lazing around or chasing each other playfully like common house pets. A few Parasprites came into view, ignoring the myriad fruit trees in favor of flying in pretty patterns in the air. There was a moment of panic when the girls came across the cockatrice. Zecora just laughed and petted it, drawing out a purr it really shouldn't have been able to make. That is so wrong, Rainbow Dash said. The cockatrice blinked its sparkly blue eyes at her innocently. You should hear what Princess Gaia has planned for the Hydra of Foggy Bottom Bog. Ugh, no thanks. Oh, she removed all the poison joke too! She decided practically jokes weren't that funny to the pony they were happening to. Figures. The princess also reduced the fertility of the animals to almost nothing. Now all of Everkind's creatures can live together and sing! Twilight glanced around and saw a small horde of dragon salvage nearby. They looked to be about Spike's height and build, but had fully formed wings. In other words, they were Fluttershy's ideal dragon. They were also all fat, lazily chewing an endless supply of fruit-shaped jewels from one of the pink trees. In the next clearing, there was a pack of wolves, now with an herbivore's flat teeth, grazing the field side by side with a group of rabbits. How could she have done all this in just a day? Twilight wondered aloud. This shouldn't be possible, even for the princesses. I mean, she's rewriting entire biological systems on a whim. Nothing is impossible for the princess and her kindness, Zecora declared. Then she started singing a song about nothing being impossible with kindness that had Rainbow Dash groaning into her hooves. Fortunately for Rainbow Dash, the saccharine singing was quickly interrupted. Less fortunately, it was by someone with far less ability to carry a tune. What a beautifully wonderful day, what a wonderful time to be alive! Everything's so lovely and beautiful and nice! Why, I'd know that voice anywhere, Rarity gasped, even before they caught sight of the giant purple sea serpent. Trixie shouted in alarm. Twilight had to tackle her to stop her electrocuting the serpent on instinct. Trixie, he's harmless! Right, Everkind. Yeah, this guy was pretty cool before, Pinky chirped. I didn't think nice was even allowed in here, Trixie grumbled as she stood. I live in the Everfree and I'm nice, Zecora patted. And it was well worth the price. Trixie knew of Zecora from Twilight's stories about her and her friends' misadventures. Twilight had felt Trixie might trust her more if she heard more about some of Twilight's more embarrassing moments, like her discarding a book based solely on the cover. Trixie admitted she'd never had the chance to meet a zebra before, with immigration between Equestria and Zebafra as rare as it was. But she was pretty sure the chipper little zebra foal in front of her wasn't a great representation of the wise potioneer she'd been told about. Case in point, the stupid rhyming. The sea serpent looked exactly the same as last time they'd met, save for his mustache being whole and orange once more. The tail he'd been lent now hung from a cord around his neck. He noticed the ponies immediately. Oh, Miss Rarity! What a pleasant surprise! Would you like to stay for tea? I have a special recipe from some very old sea pony friends of mine that I've been saving for a special occasion. Then he noticed Zecora. Oh, right. Greetings, O envoy of her kindnesty, Princess Gaia. However may I serve ye? I still think the ye is a bit tacky. It is what Princess Gaia wants, so it can't be wrong, Zecora said with full confidence in her princess. And we simply wish to cross, so, let's please move along? I'm very sorry, dear, but I can't stay. I have a very dear friend I need to see as soon as possible, Brody said apologetically. Though I can't help but notice you've kept my tail. Oh yes, it was just so lovely that when my mustache grew back in, I just had to keep it. It's wonderful to see you again, darling. I asked around about you, you know. It's just so hard getting any news in this awful forest. Oh, I can only imagine, Brody nodded along, effortlessly switching to the polite and proper socialite. So how's the Everfree been treating you, Mr. Oh yes, of course, Stephen Magnet. A pleasure to make your acquaintance properly. He reached down a claw and shook Rarity's offered hoof vigorously. Well, getting used to a, vegetarian diet is going to take some getting used to, but I positively adore these neighborhood improvements. It's far more feng shui. I've been sending letters of complaint to those royal pony sisters of yours for years, and I haven't gotten a reply to a single one until yesterday. The ponies wondered if it was worth explaining to the sea serpent that the sisters had had a change of address in the last 1,000 years. You're not enchanted in the least, are you? Rarity realized. Stephen looked a little embarrassed. Not unless you mean my enchanting looks. Excuse me, Trixie burst out before she could stop herself. But you're a sea serpent, aren't you? What are you doing in a river? Well, Mother never had the best sense of direction, and she was always a little stubborn. She refused to admit this wasn't a sea even after Father pointed out this was fresh water. He rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. You really should consider moving, dear. The Everfree isn't a worthy neighborhood of such a fashionable gentleman as yourself, Rarity said politely. Even after it's finally been improved by new management? I'm afraid the new decor completely clashes with their scales. Really, somewhere by the coast would be a much better fit for you. I never considered that. Maybe I should. Ahem, the princess is waiting. And we, don't have time for verbal baiting? Little Zecora declared with a stamp of her little hoof. Oh, right. You and your friends have a fantabulous day, Miss Rarity. And you as well, said Magnet. Rarity replied with a slight bob of her head. After crossing the river, Trixie managed a full 2 minutes of silence before finally blurting out, Did we just have a polite conversation with a sea serpent in a river? Yep, Twilight said. Am I delusional? No. Are we delusional? Nope. Is this a dream? I don't think so. A nightmare? I wish. Have I gone crazy? No crazier than the rest of us. Twilight wound up explaining their original encounter with the sea serpent, which of course led to the extended story of their first venture into the Everfree to find the elements, and all the details Twilight left out in her original explanation of how they worked. Despite all the wild misadventures, the things that baffled Trixie the most were how quickly the 6 near strangers had grown to trust each other, and the sheer coincidence of each of the 6 perfectly corresponding to an element, and how suspicious it was that each of Nightmare Moon's roadblocks seemed almost tailored to letting their elements shine. Trixie had to wonder if part of Nightmare Moon hadn't done it on purpose. But mostly, Trixie wondered, can ponies really become friends that fast? And then her wondering was cut short by a glimpse of glowing blue fur. She dived behind the group with a yelp. Twilight! Rainbow! Keep them away! The others were startled too, but not nearly to the point of panic like Trixie. But then, none of them had had their homes destroyed by Ursa's. You've got to be kidding me, Rainbow Dash exclaimed. Help me! Trixie hissed, covering her head with her hooves. Zecora, send them away right now, Twilight ordered, figuring Zecora had some sort of sway over her princess's animals. But whatever for? They're so much cuter than before. They'd never hurt even a mouse. It's not like they're stuff in our house. They already did. Please, they're scaring her. Zecora was clearly confused, but complied. Shoo, little Ursas, go find your mama. And the glowing pack of teddy bears scampered off. Are they gone? Trixie stood slowly, peering around Twilight carefully before standing at full height. I mean, the one and only Trixie was only terrified out of her wits, Applejack finished dryly. Oh, shut up. She marched on ahead as if her cheeks weren't burning in embarrassment. The others shook their heads a little at the display, but didn't say anything. If nothing else, Discord had given them a healthy appreciation for how reason could fly out the window at the sight of even the smallest trigger. Pinkie Pie watched Trixie's legs shake for a few seconds before bounding up to her and talking lowly in her ear, even humming a quiet rendition of Giggle at the Ghosties. Trixie never responded, but the shaking in her legs died down soon enough. Can't I go 5 minutes without dragging these ponies down? Trixie thought. And they aren't even mad at me for it. It's like they're happy to help me whenever I trip up, but they never rub my muzzle in it after. Is this what made them become friends so quickly back then? The willingness to trust each other to have their backs? Trixie once again felt the strange emotion she'd felt at Pinkie's surprise party. Unbidden, an image of her family flashed through her mind. The mist and overbright trees finally gave way to a clearing centered around a sheer cliff. On the other side was the patch of land that held the old castle, only connected to them by a bridge of roots and vines that looked more grown than built. The castle itself was barely recognizable, the crumbled stone having been patched together where possible, and filled with roots where it couldn't. The engravings of celestial bodies had been replaced with butterflies and flowers, and the repaired stained glass now showed images of a familiar pink and yellow Pegasus frolicking with their animals. The castle captured their attention for a good minute as they crossed the bridge, but their eyes were soon drawn to a group of half-finished buildings off to the side that were, for lack of a better word, cute. It looked like a small town as depicted by a pink-obsessed 6-year-old, complete with heart and rainbow motifs splattered on every other light pole. Pinkie Pie squealed when she saw it. Oh, the Ponyville I came from! And she dashed off without him. What exactly is this? Twilight asked Zecora, rushing to follow. This is Princess Gaia's personal amusement center and planned community. It's got a great sense of unity. It's still under construction, but everything is going according to instruction. About time something was, Twilight thought. What the hell are those? Rainbow Dash exclaimed as a set of wood-painted animated figures came into view. They looked like ponies, vaguely, in the same sort of way a Pomeranian looked like a wolf. Wow, it really is like home, Pinkie Pie said, looking at them with a beaming grin and misty eyes. Her gaze lingered on a purple and pink maned Pegasus and a pale pink earth pony with rainbowy bangs. Oh, those are Princess Gaia's dolls! Aren't they cute? And they're really nice to boot. Hey girls, look at this one. Scootaloo will show us games to play, Pinky sang, skipping up to an Earth Pony doll that looked a lot like their Scootaloo, playing an eternal game of hopscotch. Rainbow Dash couldn't help it. She laughed. She really wished she had a camera to show her skills, the doll acting so unlike her. Oh, and over there! Rainbow Dash always dresses in style. Pinky happily pointed at a doll with similar coloration to Rainbow Dash, striking poses while dressed in a scarf and sunglasses. Now it was Rarity's turn to burst out laughing. I must say, this is quite the improvement for you, dear. If it was anyone else, I'd punch them in the face for this, Rainbow Dash grumbled. While the design is technically sound, the individual buildings are all rather samey, Rarity commented, eyeing the giant incomplete playset critically. Applejack shook her head. Okay, this is just about the weirdest thing I've seen all day, and that's saying something. It grows on you if you give it a chance. You should just see them dance. In the most elegant voice she could manage, Trixie said, the one and only Trixie would just like to say she is not allergic to trying new things, but we do not have time for this nonsense. The others voiced their agreement, all except for Pinky, who only reluctantly nodded a few seconds later. Oh, all right. It's too bad. I'd hoped to hear a story from Cheerily, and a beautiful star song melody. She sighed. Fluttershy, is that the kind of world you're trying to make? No ends of the worlds or monsters trying to eat ponies every 5 minutes? Just silly games and parties all the time? Applejack noticed her expression and trotted up to her. Pinkie Pie, I know you're just feeling nostalgic, but you're freaking every pony out just a bit. Oh, sorry. Pinkie Pie shook her head and put on her best smile. Let's just get out of here, Rainbow Dash grumbled. The group trotted through the collection of half-finished buildings. Pinkie Pie kept up with her friends despite her visible reluctance, only hesitating once when she caught a flash of a half-painted doll in green. They were hit with another surprise soon after. There was a brownish earth pony with a gold mane and a grindstone key mark hammering together a set of boards. He too had a butterfly pendant around his neck. Keep up the good work, Gladstone, Zecora chirped. The stallion screamed and jumped in the air in surprise, then twisted on his heels and bowed several times. Don't scare me like that, Lady Zecora. I'll be sure to, of course. It is an honor to serve the wonderful Princess Gaia. His eyes were remarkably clear. Sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you. I didn't even say boo. Hey, are you okay? Applejack asked. There was something familiar about this pony, like she'd seen him in passing once. It made her think of Apple Bloom for some reason. Her eyes were drawn to his key mark. She couldn't help but feel there was something wrong about it. Oh yes, I'm fine. I'm always happy to serve Princess Gaia, he said happily. Then he met Applejack's eyes, and his own turned to prim bricks. His smile froze on his face before stretching painfully wide. Where are you from? Twilight asked, wondering just how far Fluttershy's fog had spread. Sunnytown. We, don't get out much. Gladstone wanted to look away. He wanted to look away so badly, but her eyes held him in place. Piercing. Searing. Sunnytown? I can't say I've heard of it, Rarity mused. We're kind of a gated community. We get left off most maps. But we're all happy to serve Princess Gaia. All of you? Our entire community's volunteered to help renovate the castle for her. It's no trouble. It's an honor to help her kindnessly fix up her new home. Zecora had been smiling happily through this explanation, but seeing Gladstone so nervous, her expression turned to concern. Applejack swore she'd heard that town name before. She glared harder into the stallion's eyes. His pained smile stretched wider. In Applejack's eyes, his form began to waver, like what she was seeing was one image superimposed upon another. No, please don't look at me! Those eyes, don't look at me! Gladstone fell to his knees and covered his eyes. Images flashed through his mind. A gray filly with an orange blonde mane helping him find his keys once. Telling her what a clever filly she was, how proud of her they all were. Then the curse, the meeting, the fire. Please, just stop! Zecora stepped between the two with a dark look at Applejack and gently nuzzled the cowering stallion. All doubts and fears vanished. Of course he wouldn't do anything to harm Ruby. What an absurd nightmare. After all, where was she, actually? Probably just looking for more trinkets in the forest. What a silly filly. He rose to his hooves and went back to work, paying no mind to the newcomers. Applejack, what the hell did you do to him? Rainbow Dash asked. The others took a step back. Applejack shook her head and blinked, as if coming out of a trance. Oh, don't worry about him. He's putting his contact with others is thin. They get scared of almost anything they don't know. But Princess Gaia is waiting, so we should really go, little Zecora said, keeping a sharp eye on Applejack. Rarity was glad she'd finally get to see Fluttershy. Twilight knew the quest came first, but she was mentally noting down a list of questions for later. Trixie just wanted out of the construction site. Something about it felt off to her. Or was she the one out of place? Pinky said absolutely nothing. There were some things even she didn't want to share. Applejack kept scouring her memories. and Rainbow Dash was just happy to be out of the creepy-as-hell pink explosion. The shimmering fog crawled across the landscape, rendering everything it swallowed docile and cute. The animals in Fluttershy's cottage ceased their calling and crying, falling into the haze of a dream world. Angel saw the fog coming and ran for it as fast as his little bunny legs would carry him. It wasn't fast enough. Big Macintosh and Granny Smith wondered about the mist, but didn't fear it, simply believing it a paperwork error at the weather office. The fog swept over them. They heard her song. They dropped their tools, eyes and minds glazing over, and smiled. Minutes later, the fog rolled into Ponyville, led by a red earth pony colt and a green filly with white blonde hair, both beaming ear to ear. Their cutie marks looked like crayon drawings. Still, no pony panicked at the sight of the unusually timed fog, or the pair of foals they didn't recognize. Dr. Hooves took a whiff of the fog and reached into his tie pocket for his metal wand, but his eyes glazed over and he fell asleep on his hooves. 5 minutes later, a colt with a crayon hourglass cutie mark hopped alongside the procession.
Infinite rice pudding to Mom and Princess Gaia! And infinite chocolate too, in case she doesn't like rice pudding!
The fog swept over the Ponyville spa. The twins Ella and Lotus stopped taking inventory, their clipboards falling to the floor. Minutes later, they were filling every spa tub with bubbles and splashing each other. When the fog seeped into Sugar Cube Corner, a cutting knife fell from Mrs. Cake's mouth and nearly grazed her foreleg, and Mr. Cake's forgotten cupcakes nearly burned the store down. They forgot all about their business and their foster child, too busy stuffing their face with every confectionery they could find. The half-formed souls within Mrs. Cake were absorbed into the fog, and its master made a note to make the cakes a pair of living stuffed animals when all was said and done. After the fog crept into Carrot Top's bedroom, a young filly began painting the walls with orange hair dye. A minute later, her little sister leapt out of bed, illness forgotten, and joined in on the fun. Lyra and Bonbon were enjoying a lunch date at their favorite cafe, discussing the odd parade of unfamiliar foals marching out of the fog and the unusual amount of pink and yellow birds and bunnies. Then the birdsong reached them, and their concerns melted away like snow on a summer day. Side by side, the inseparable fillies began to sing along. Lily of the Flower Ponies actually did find the sight suspicious, and promptly faded from the light shock. Roseluck and Daisy tried to pick her up, heard the song, and carried her into the fog instead of away from it. 3 smiling fillies emerged a few moments later, a set of crayon-drawn flowers on each of their flanks. Berry Punch was at home, bottle in hoof, waiting for the time to pick up her foal from school. No matter what anyone else thought, no matter how much she loved her fine wines and hard liquors, she still loved her daughter more. Then she heard the song, and felt the fog seep through her windows. The filly sniffed the bottle, made a face, and promptly poured the contents down the drain before running out to play. The blue unicorn Pokepierce ran from the fog as fast as his hoof could carry him. He had finally mentally recovered enough that the doctors had let him go back to work today, and now this was happening? No, leave me alone! This is sick! The birds above and the bunnies below swarmed him, dragging him into the mist, kicking and screaming. When the fog cleared, a blue foal just barely out of diapers huddled along with the rest. For Nurse Redheart, it wasn't even a question. She wouldn't abandon her patients. She just sat back during Discord's games, watching with dull gray eyes as the ponies around her writhed in agony and madness, wondering what they had ever done for her to deserve the gift of her family's healing hooves. She wouldn't reenact that betrayal of herself. She just continued her work, ensuring that those too ill to be moved were comfortable, even as the fog swept around her hooves. Minutes later, the blankets she'd been bringing in were being used for a massive blanket fort, while her former patients ran around and jumped on their beds, all illness or injury forgotten. Little Redheart laughed in delight. The fog tried to reach the young colt whose bad luck kept him from hearing its sweet song that morning, but as soon as the colt and his parents reached the door to their house, a swarm of star spiders came from nowhere and spun a web over every entrance, formed so perfectly that the fog couldn't push through. Birds and bunnies formed from the fog tried to pull it apart, but a second swarm of star-patterned beetles and moths erected from the earth and chased them away, followed by a flock of bats in the middle of the day. Eventually, the fog and its constructs had no choice but to retreat. Normally, Pip's parents would be frightened by the hordes and the night screechers, but given they'd seen the fog turning Ponyville's residents into glossy-eyed foals moments before, they figured they should just thank their lucky stars for their odd guardians. Who ordered all this fog? Probably some jerk who thinks a mental hospital needs to look creepy all the time. The Ponyville mental ward was currently home not only to Ponyville's regular psychologists and nurses, but those commissioned by Princess Celestia herself to oversee the mental and emotional recovery of those harmed by Discord. The building was on the outskirts of Ponyville to reduce the risk of any escapees harming civilians. The fog reached it all the same. The burly orderlies and doctors were confused when the fog forced its way indoors, but then it was alright. Everything was going to be alright. The fog swept around each of the doctors, then made its way under the locked doors of the patients' rooms and sang its sweet song to the mad ponies within. They paused, for just a heartbeat. Then they went on laughing and rambling just as before. The master of the fog was confused. What had Twilight said about using magic to cure psychological issues again? That it wasn't something that could be brute forced? The fog focused its efforts on the single pony, noting the thick wall of madness reflecting its efforts. It was confident it could get past it, but it would take time and focus it couldn't afford right now, not when there were so many others still yet to be enveloped in its song. With great reluctance it retreated from the mad pony's minds, promising to return later and help them whatever way it could. There was just one pony it thought it could help. Twilight had mentioned a Pegasus who'd lost her wings, hadn't she? It slipped into her sill and crooned its song, and soon the full-size guards were dueling the pink Pegasus with pretty butterfly wings out to play. Screwball watched herself through the window on her door, and wondered if maybe she asked it really nicely, the fog would let her play with her princess too. Ditzy now held Dinky tightly in her foreheads, perched on a table, as far as she could manage from the fog-blanketed floor. The birds and bunnies were just watching her through the windows now. Dinky still struggled weakly in her grasp, wanting so desperately to answer the song and reach that perfect dreamland. The fog rose. I should apologize, Ditzy do. Ditzy startled.
Fluttershy?
It was wrong of me to try and force you and Dinky apart. I understand that now. I know what it's like to have a child taken from you, and I never should have tried to inflict that pain on you or anyone myself. It was cruel of me, and I understand if you can't forgive me. Ditzy said nothing, just stared sternly at the horde of animals waiting beyond the mist. So that's why I'm allowing you to come with her to paradise. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Just you, Dinky, and Sparkler, playing together forever. I want to make fun of you or try to keep you apart. A world where you can see and speak straight, just like you've always wanted. Would you really deny your child a paradise like that, where you can both be happy together? How could that possibly be bad? Ditzy folded her wings around Dinky protectively. The fog sighed. I really, really am sorry for before. I understand if you hate me for it. But from one mother to another, isn't your foal's happiness the most important thing? Can't you find your own happiness as long as you're with her? Just listen to my voice, Ditzy. Listen to my song. Ditzy lashed out a wing and sliced through the alluring mist. The song stuttered.
No! I want to protect my muffin!
You really do love her, don't you?
More than anything.
You really want to protect her.
More than anything.
You do anything to protect her.
Anything.
The fog twisted and condensed into the shape of a mare's head. Ditzy gasped. Before her lay the image of the kindest, most majestic pony in all Equestria. Her eyes shone with more compassion than Ditzy thought possible, her face devoid of even the suggestion of malice. Look around you, Ditzy. Look outside. What if you could protect more than just your daughters? What if you could protect all of Ponyville? Foals need guardians, they need caretakers, but they also need protectors. And now Ponyville is finally regaining the innocence it lost after that meeting Discord hurt everyone. What if you could protect all of them? Ditzy was left speechless. Her wings quivered, but not from anger.
Lou, Red is really... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to overwhelm you.
The face dissolved back into mist. But I'm being honest, I swear. You have a desire to protect like no one else, Ditzy. It's a gift to be treasured and shared. And Ponyville is going to need protectors like you, same as everywhere else. You want to help protect others, don't you, Ditzy? Ditzy sighed. Yeah. The fog seemed to watch her for a moment, then sighed. The birds and bunnies withdrew. Dinky stopped struggling, her glossy eyes falling shut. Whenever you're ready, you can come outside, accept my kiss, and join me as my knight. And the fog was gone. Ditzy hugged her sleeping foal all the tighter now. She was so confused, more than she'd felt in years. She knew her brain worked differently from most ponies, and that when she spoke, others didn't seem to know what she was trying to say, and lots of ponies thought she was stupid because of that. But if she could be more? The windows outside shimmered with the fog's light, a beacon out of the darkness. And Ditzy made her choice. By this time, everyone had figured out what the fog was doing, and caught glimpses of the dazed eyes of the marching foals. Mayor tried to organize an evacuation, but the fog didn't give him the chance, closing them on all sides before diving down upon City Hall. Before long, a tan filly with a too-big necktie and a freshly washed mane hopped, skipped, and jumped out of the building. In the squeaky voice of a child, she shouted,
Every pony, let's all hear it for her kindness to Princess Gaia!
The horde of fools all cheered in response. What's all that racket? Spike groaned, opening the library door to peek outside. The fog embraced him and Owlicious like an old friend. Ravenquill galloped like a mad pony from the encroaching fog. Laughter was all around her now. Nothing but foals everywhere. Even her oldest friend, Mayor was one of them now. Zombie foals everywhere, fog everywhere. Pink and yellow birds on every perch, yellow and pink rabbits around every corner, all watching her with those piercing blue eyes. Celestia, save me! She yelled. She tried to gallop straight from Ponyville to Canterlot, but the fog made it so hard to see. And everywhere she turned, there was another foal staring at her with those unnatural, sparkling eyes.
Raven, come play at once,
ordered a foal with a crayon drawing of the mayor's cue mark, puffing herself up in an utterly ridiculous imitation of a proper adult. No! Raven screamed, and turned right back around. This time she sprinted to her own home, locked the doors and windows, stuffed the edges with cloth, and locked herself in a room, hiding under her bed. She curled into a ball and hid her face with her tail, shaking. I'll just stay here until the bears save Ponyville. They always do. They'll stop us and save everyone. They have to.
Shush,
murmured a quiet voice from nowhere.
You don't have to be afraid. Everything is going to be okay.
Who's there?
No one's going to hurt you, Raven. I'm here to help. You need a rescue? You want to escape?
Yes, save me!
Save you from what, though?
Save me from the little happiness zombies that used to be my friends!
But is that all you need to escape from? Are you sure?
Yes!
You say yes, but your heart is saying something else. Don't you want to escape the stress of living up to others' expectations of you? Don't you want to escape the pain of doing so much to help Ponyville without ever getting a thank you? Don't you want to escape the memories of what Discord did to you?
The horrible memory flashed through her mind. Her fur faded, her eyes spirals. She'd laughed as she tore up her and the mayor's offices, reveling in the havoc she was creating. Guided by the voice in her head telling her if orders and neatness were too hard to maintain, she might as well go the opposite extreme.
Do you or don't you?
Yes, I do.
Do you want to be left alone? Do you want to grow old and die? Do you want to be unhappy? Do you want to be a victim to fate's cruelties?
No!
Do you want to be free of all your pains and worries? Do you want to be happy, to smile, to live, to be alive?
Yes!
Then just listen to Mother's song, my dear, and all will be well.
Yes,
Hush now, quiet now, listen to Mama's gentle song. Hush now, quiet now, it's time to come along. Drift into my arms, all your pains and fears behind you. Drift into my arms, let Mother's wonderland find you. Hush now, quiet now, listen to Mama's song. Hush now, quiet now, it's time to come along.
Little Philly with glasses big enough to fall off her nose came out of her house. She couldn't even remember why she'd been so worried. How could Mama Princess Gaia's song be sad? She'd been such a silly filly.
Hey, Minnie Mare!
She waved at her best friend, who was waiting for her with her friends.
Hey, Ray Ray!
Minnie ran over and gave her a noogie.
Hey, Uncle! Ray Ray laughed. Gotcha! That was for being such a fraidy cat, Minnie Mare laughed.
I'm sorry, Ray Ray said, kicking the dirt sheepishly. They hugged it out, then did their super special best friend's hoof shake they'd invented on the spot. Minnie Mare turned to look at the gathering crowd of fools and beamed.
By order of her super duper kindnessly Princess Gaia, I declare today an everyday play day!
The crowd of sparkly-eyed fools cheered.
We're free!
The castle interior was still clearly a work in progress. The rubble and junk had been cleared away, and living wood filled in the gaps in the walls and floor. But most of the stone still needed polishing, and all the metal was covered in centuries of dust. And there was a notable lack of royal knickknacks. It was a bit disorienting for 5 of the 6 to see the dilapidated castle from their first adventure, now undergoing major renovations. Trixie, sadly, had no appreciation for the history she was walking through. All the spaces where paintings or vases might go had been filled in with beautiful flowers in every color. Almost too much color, thought Rarity with a designer's critical eye. Rainbow Dash was torn between loudly complaining about the overly pretty decorations and dashing through the castle screaming Fluttershy's name. She settled for a few dozen eye rolls. Twilight kept her senses about her, hoping desperately they weren't just marching into the dragon's jaws. Applejack felt herself relaxing at the light, airy look of the place. Not the type of place an evil egomaniac would usually live in. Pinky Diane didn't like how much this looked like Fluttershy's work. Almost immediately after entering the castle proper, the heroes and their guide ran into another pony polishing the stones. The moment she noticed them, she dropped her tools and bowed politely.
Hello and welcome to Everkind Castle! Welcome home, little lady Zecora!
The mare was entirely green, wearing a stereotypical maid's uniform and a butterfly pendant around her neck. Her key mark was a 3-leaved clover. For some reason, it looked off to Applejack. Just like Gladstone and Zecora, her eyes were completely clear.
These are Princess Gaia's dearest friends, 3-leaf. They need some help in their beliefs. Is Her Kindnessly holding court? Or, this meeting, should we abort? Oh, Her Kindnessly's been waiting. She'll be so happy to see you.
3-leaf shook at each of their hoes in greeting. Her forehoof was unusually cold. When her eyes met Applejack's, she yelped and scrunched her own eyes closed. Fear and despair shivered across her body. She covered her face with her forelegs and cowered. Images flashed in 3-leaf's mind. Ruby finding 3-leaf's lost gardening tools, telling Ruby what a nice filly she was, thanking her for being so helpful to every pony. 3-leaf looking over her precious garden and thinking of how she could make it better, but hesitating and leaving it be, having heard Greyhoof and Gladstone whisper about the curse striking those who did more than they needed to. Then the curse claimed Ruby, and No. The smoothest, safe memories returned. reminding her that she'd served her kindnessly at Everkind Castle her entire life, happy and whole alongside the rest of her community. She welcomed and embraced them like a lover. Where was Ruby? Oh, probably just wandered off again. What a curious but kind filly she was. Zecora stepped between them to block Applejack from view.
Why don't you go take a break, Threeleaf? You could use some relief.
Yes, of course, little Lady Zecora. Threeleaf bowed, carefully avoiding Applejack's gaze, and called in a sing-song voice.
Oh, Mida! Please come take over for me!
And like typical hired help, she didn't wait to see if her replacement showed up before trotting out of the hallway. Twilight glanced at her friend. Applejack, what happened? I don't know, there was just something wrong about her. Like I wasn't really seeing her. Pinkie Pie muttered something about crossover bloat. A barely teenage filly trotted around the corner, one with a gray coat and a wavy red mane. She was wearing a cute little maid's uniform. Her steps were slow, almost like she was dragging her hooves. She kept her red eyes to the floor.
Mida, don't be rude. We've got guests, so better your mood.
Yes, little Lady Zecora. Pinkie stepped closer to her.
Hey, are you okay?
It's no concern of yours.
Hey, I'm just being nice. You look like a filly who could use a whole bunch of laughs, and I'm pretty good at laughs.
I don't deserve to laugh. Not after what I let... Where's Ruby? Mida asked, sounding less negative but more passive than before.
Just relax, Mida, Zecora soothed. Ruby's just off playing. Right now you should escort our guests to the throne room. They're Her Kindness's best friends, so you should treat them over the moon.
Yes, little Lady Zecora. Mida just bowed her head. The others all looked at each other in concern. Only the promise of finally seeing Fluttershy kept Rainbow Dash from demanding answers with her hooves. Rarity's own self-control was swiftly fraying. Zecora bowed again, then trotted off without them. Mida, head still bowed, said, "Please follow me." Applejack caught a glance at the filly's blank flank, and realized. She trotted close to Mida and bent low to her ear. "I know who and what you are." Mida looked into Applejack's eyes, and she didn't cower. She was afraid, of course she was, but she refused to look away even as the painful, agonizing truth cut through the sweet lies. Applejack recognized the expression on Mida's face all too well. She'd seen it herself in the truth's reflection. The filly blinked away tears. How? Applejack began to see something underneath the false image, something like a pony but broken, hollow, unnatural. But further beneath that, there was a filly who'd been in pain for far too long. "You helped my sister, Applebloom, didn't ya? You don't need to torture yourself over this no more. Just let go. It's what Ruby wants." That, of everything, was what made Mida turn away from Applejack's gaze. She needs to let go. There is no redemption for ponies like me. That's a little horse apples, girl, because there ain't no such thing as no redemption if you're willing to accept it. You don't deserve it. Forgiveness and redemption ain't the kinds of things you have to deserve. And what happened wasn't your fault, Mida. Mida didn't react. Instead, welcome to Her Kindness's chambers. She pushed the door open with her head and trotted back the way she came, head held low. "What the hey was all that about?" Rainbow Dash asked. "Long story short, Cube. That filly's waited a long time to get help, and she won't get any worse anytime soon. Fluttershy's the one who needs us right now." And with that, Applejack trotted inside. The others had no choice but to follow. The first thing they noticed was how many things from Fluttershy's cottage were here, including her pet's cages and her favorite tea table and rug. The second was that the room was absolutely, jaw-droppingly huge. The third, of much less import, was the gray and black-leafed potted plant in the corner cut in the shape of a stallion. And the fourth, only acknowledged by Twilight, was that this was the room they had fought Nightmare Moon in all that time ago. She felt a bit queasy at the realization. But all these details were forgotten when they saw the pale gold alicorn resting upon her throne, her flower-dotted pink mane flowing like water onto the floor below. Her key mark was a trio of blue-winged butterflies. There was a small animal curled up between her hooves. A Merina stallion flanked her, combing her tail and polishing her hooves in a way that reminded Rarity of their missed spa date. The couple both had half a heart as their key mark, the stallion with a key and ruby, and the mare with a golden lock. They both had the same butterfly pennant as the rest. The alicorn lazily opened her beautiful blue eyes at the sound of their hoofsteps, then gasped and sat up straight.
"Oh, girls, you're here! Just wait a second."
The hero's heart skipped a collective beat at the sound of the familiar voice. Princess Gaia spoke to her pamperers.
"Romeo, Starlet, you may go. If you please."
The couple darted off together. The alicorn nudged her pet off her lap, and a few of them gasped when they realized it was a manticore, shrunken down to the size of a house cat with flattened teeth. The golden alicorn whispered something to it, and happily flew off. She took a few graceful steps off her platform, moving like petals on the wind. Her very form shimmered like amber. Her feathery wings fluttered like a dream. Her smile was that of a saint. Applejack looked into her eyes, and saw not a trace of deception, just pure radiance and love. So beautiful, thought Rarity.
So happy,
thought Pinkie Pie. So enchanting, thought Trixie.
Hey girls, Welcome to my royal castle, my loyal friends. I hope you like what I've done with the place. I know I don't have much experience with interior decorating, but I hope it's not too bad.
I see she's got the royal Canterlot voice down, Twilight thought distantly. Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash gasped, unable to look away from her sheer perfection.
It's Princess Gaia now, actually. But, you can still call me Fluttershy if you really want to. I don't mind. Now come in, have a seat!
A swarm of butterflies entered the chamber from all directions, bringing in wood-carved chairs and fluffy pillows, and a set of cookies and hot tea.
We have so much to catch up on! I'm sorry for not coming to you myself. I've had a lot to do. Would you all like some tea?
Ponies all smiled and nodded, and as one they sat down to dine with their precious, perfect princess.